This is the Royals POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Kansas City Royals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, we are live here on the Locked On Royals podcast page here on YouTube. Welcome into the Royals POSTCAST, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I am your host, Chance Liebau, and I am here to bring you reaction to every single Royals game the rest of this season. You can follow me on Twitter. That is right there on your YouTube screen. Shoot me a follow on Twitter or X. You can expect these episodes after every single game this season. We'll go live on YouTube for about 15 minutes or so, just to give you a subtle recap of the game, to give you my thoughts on what we saw. Another dreadful performance from the offense today. We'll get into that and much more today. If you can't make a show live, don't worry. We'll be posting these on the podcast section on Spotify, Apple Music. It'll be on demand on YouTube. Wherever you get your podcast, do not worry. We'll have it for you there. If you want to listen after the fact, on your way to church tomorrow, wherever, whenever, you can come back and listen to this. If you want to listen to this in October when the Royals are making a postseason run and listen to how bad things have gotten, you can obviously do that as well. Before we get started, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon. Turn on notifications so that you are notified every single time we go live here on YouTube for a postcast. Here's how the show goes on a daily/nightly basis. I'll tell you what I liked from the Royals. I'll tell you what I didn't like from the Royals. And then I'll tell you about kind of how that matters in the long run. That'll kind of be how things go on this show. It'll be a shortened show, especially compared to what you get from Jack on a daily basis during the week. Just one episode, or he gives you one episode a day. I give you one episode after every game. Mine will be for about 15 minutes. Thanks so much for joining the show. Feel free to join the live chat. Let us know your thoughts. We've already got some people jumping in the comments section. Appreciate you all hopping in on the chat. We got Jalen in there. We got Nathan in there. Smalls Carden in there. Appreciate you all for hopping in and getting things running here on our postcast. Well, we will start out with things that I didn't like. It was just another dreadful day for the offense. And I really don't even have much more to say about not much more to say. Obviously, we have stuff to say. I'm going to pull up the box score over here to see how many in total they left on base. As a team, the Royals had 6 left on base, 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. So I don't think that you can be too upset with 333 with runners in scoring position. Can't be upset with just leaving 6 on base. But the Royals got a guy that was in the Texas Rangers minor league system a couple of months ago, and they got him going against them today against Michael Wacha, who went toe-to-toe with Tarek Skubal last week. I was there at the game in a 1-0 Royals win. That feels like ages ago for this Royals team. They were challenged by Hauser early. He was I think the Royals as a whole this season have really struggled against sinker ballers, ground ball guys, because the Royals have a lot of guys that put the ball in play. Outside of a couple, the Royals have a lineup full of a bunch of guys that put the ball in play, which is kind of exactly what a lot of sinker ballers want you to do. They want you to get weak contact, put a ball in play. Royals have a lot of free swingers that can put the ball in play, and they did that. They got a lot of weak contact. We saw Bobby Witt Jr. strike out early. Hauser really had his good stuff early on against the Royals, and they really never had any shot. The only opportunities the Royals really had to score. They got the solo homer from Vinny. That was the only run they got in a 4-1 loss to the White Sox. They had runners on second and third, so in the 4th inning. So let's go back to the 4th inning. I want to pull up the box score here. Let's go back to the 4th inning. So we get all the way into the 4th inning. I'm trying to find it here. Sorry, this is bad podcasting. But we get to the top of the 4th. Garcia singles, Vinny singles, and then a wild pitch puts runners on second and third. Nobody out. Salvi's at the plate. And coming into this series, man, Salvador Perez is just scorching baseballs. He had been one of the best hitters in baseball over the last 2 weeks or so. Then last night, not good at bats. I mean, just swinging a boat paddle up there, guessing. And that's kind of Salvi's MO. Then it gets to 3-2, which I'm not sure how many 3-ball counts you really ever see from Salvador Perez. Works the count to 3-2. And after that, a 3-2 pitch that, I mean, I don't know. And I never played baseball professionally. I never took an at-bat past the high school level. I don't know what Salvi was expecting on that 3-2 pitch. I don't know what Salvi saw on the 3-2 pitch, but the ball leaves Hauser's hand as a ball in the dirt, and that's how it ends up. That ball was never a strike out of his hand. It hits a good 5 or 6 inches before the plate, and Salvi swings at it. If Salvi takes that pitch, or hell, if he luckily fouls it off, I mean, just bear with me here. If Salvi lays off of that, you get bases loaded for Cags coming up with you need runs in this game, obviously. You get Cags coming up, bases loaded, and, maybe Cags doesn't do very well in that position, but he swings at a stupid pitch. I mean, it was just horrible. And then, of course, you get Cags grounding a soft one back to the pitcher, and then Drew Waters takes ball 4 for strike 3. And in that moment, I think the baseball gods shunned the Royals with the Drew Waters strike 3 call. It wasn't a strike, never was a strike. But Drew Waters has not been very clutch for the Royals this season, hasn't put a bunch of balls in play with runners in scoring position. The offense from that point on was dead. They never really got anything else, just looking through the box score. They had another opportunity that Salvi squandered. That was in the top of the 8th. Once again, Michael and Vinny doing the heavy lifting for this offense. Garcia walks, Vinny singles, Garcia goes to third. So then you get runners on first and third with 2 outs, and Salvi swings at 2 sliders that aren't even close. I tweeted out the picture of the MLB app, like the strike zone view on what those pitches were. It was never a strike. It looked like they actually had to zoom out to make sure they got the balls that Salvi swung at in the zone. I don't understand it. And it's like beating a dead horse. I'm going to do, we're about 65 games into the season right now. So I'm going to have another 95 of these to do. I bet in 75 of those 95, we can come on here and talk about how bad Salvi's plate approach is, how bad his plate discipline is. It's going to be like beating a dead horse. But today was the most egregious examples of it, because they were with runners in scoring position. They were with the go-ahead run at the plate in the 8th inning. They were with 2 outs. Just got to get a ball in the air, and he just can't do it. And I saw some people on Twitter saying, "Oh, you got to send Salvi's days as the catcher are done. Got to DFA Salvi. Got to move on." Folks, it's June 7th. Carter Jensen was hitting 220 a month ago in Double-A. Luca Tresh had his come and go in the majors and probably will not see it again. Luke Maile, he was good for a couple of weeks, but then you're risking the same thing with Freddie. And if you say, okay, well, Salvi is only your DH because he sucks behind the plate now, because he does. He sucks behind the plate. He made strides last season as a framer, but he sucks behind the plate. But if you say, hey, we're not going to catch Salvi anymore, maybe on a 1 or 2 game a week basis, well, then you're making him a DH only. You kind of got to save a spot for Cags as the DH or Vinny. There's only so many spots in the lineup for Salvi and Vinny and Cags. If Cags is up, and Cags is going to be up for a while, we'll talk about him a little bit when we get to what I did like from this game. If Cags is going to be up, he's either going to be DHing or playing first base or playing the outfield. If Vinny is up, and Vinny is the best hitter on this team right now, bar none, he's scorching. He is going to need a spot in the lineup all the time. And I would even argue you got to move Vinny up in the lineup. But with Vinny, he can only play first or DH. And Salvi's going to be the same way. And Salvi's going to have to catch some. I think at some point, you're going to have to give him a day off. It would not shock me if Quatrero gave him the day off tomorrow, but it also would be a little bit. Salvi hasn't gotten a day off, like not playing at all. He's had, DH days, whatever. But Freddie hasn't looked great at times this season. He had the homer in St. Louis. I'm surprised he hasn't played yet this series. But again, you have certain spots you have to fill with certain guys. It's just I don't know. My patience is wearing thin with Salvi at the plate, because he's not hitting for power. He's not playing good defense, and his approach to the plate is one of the worst I've seen. He's simply guessing up there, and he's guessing wrong a lot. And you hate to say, well, the league has figured him out. I mean, he's in year like 16 right now. It's no joke. Everybody knows that Salvi will swing at a slider low and away, but every once in a while that slider low and away will miss and he'll get a piece of it, or he'll, get a barrel on it and it'll go far. But I mean, this is the worst I've seen Salvi in a long time. I mean, this is bad. And that's including the 2-week stretch where he was actually hitting well. It's really bad right now. It's to the point where he's not hitting righties whatsoever. I mean, I'm going to have to look it up and, I'll probably tweet it out, but I would not be surprised if Salvi is hitting well below 200 against righties. Maybe somebody can look that up in the comments and let me know what Salvi's batting average against righties is this season. But I mean, it's horrible right now. I don't even have words for it, but Salvi continues to be a major hole in this lineup. If he's not striking out, he's grounding into double plays. I want to believe that he's going to be able to turn this around, but I mean, I just don't know. I know a lot of people are going to be calling for the Alex Zumwalt's job. Folks, they're not going to – this team's trying to compete. They're not going to fire their hitting coach in the middle of the season. That's not going to happen. I'll put my stamp on. They are not going to fire the hitting coach because Zumwalt came up with Bobby, with Vinny, with MJ when he was a prospect, with Prado. He was in that minor league system. He was a vital part of their development. They're not just going to cut ties with him in the middle of a playoff run because everybody loves that mystery box over there in the corner. Everybody loves the mystery box. Mystery box could be a big pile of doo-doo. It could be even worse than what Zumwalt is right now. You're not going to just make an upgrade because you hire someone that isn't Alex Zumwalt. I understand the frustration with the offense. I think the biggest frustration with the offense is that I don't think it's a coaching problem. I think it's a talent problem. I don't think Michael Massey is a Major League Baseball player. I don't think that Drew Waters is an everyday outfielder. I don't think Cags is a guy that should be in the middle of the order for a playoff team right now. So there are some issues right now with the Royals, but it's not coaching. It is a talent issue. And I think it's one that the Royals are going to have to address soon. Cam Devaney isn't fixing anything. They're not going to fix anything. Nothing is going to get fixed here in the next 30 days. It's going to be until the All-Star break, until some move gets made that puts this team in a position to at least compete for a wild card spot. They're still a game and a half out of the wild card. No time to overreact. But I think that it's time to have some patience with this team. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, we will have our Cags talk for the day. I liked his at-bats today. I'll tell you why. That's coming up next here on the Royals Postcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. All right, time to talk Cags. I was blasted on Twitter a couple of days ago for saying I'm not going to panic about the Cags ABs. He had some bad ABs against the Cardinals in Game 2. I was surprised he was in the lineup against the Cardinals in Game 2, but whatever. I'm not Quatrero. I'm simply a radio host and a podcaster. But I thought his at-bats today were about as good as we've seen them for a while. The first at-bat, obviously, I think it was his first at-bat that he got the base hit in. But, a quality swing on a baseball, puts it out into right center. It feels like that's kind of where he's aiming right now. I think he's got a case of the April Vinnies where he's trying to yank everything. He's trying to pull everything. And I think that's been a struggle for him so far, pulling off on a lot of balls. But, I think that once he hits his first home run, that maybe he starts to have a little bit more of a all fields approach. But I thought that today was probably his best day. Number one, he makes a couple of plays in the outfield, also makes a play at first base, doesn't strike out today, has some competitive at-bats. Now, the one with runners on second and third, obviously not what you want to see. But I think that with what we saw today from Cags, I mean, that was probably his best day at the plate really all season. Or at least with the major league team. I thought that was his best full body of work. I mean, you can take into account, whatever you want to say with his double down the line against St. Louis. But I thought today, put a good swing on a ball in his last at bat, just seems to die out there in the Chicago wind. 105 off the bat. I mean, I'm not going to be too upset about that, but this is kind of what you expect from Cags. I know some people on Twitter were talking about, I know Curtis Seabolt up at 810 WHB was talking about, George Brett really struggled in his first 25 ABs. Bobby Witt Jr. was the same way. Have to be patient, and I will do my best to demonstrate that patience as a loyal fan to these Royals, but also as a guy who thinks that Cags is. I don't think he's the answer. I don't think he's got a whole lot of protection around him. I mean, I think this might be a little bit of a hot take, and maybe not a hot take, but there's probably going to be some pushback. But I would move Cags up in the lineup. I think that hitting behind Salvi has done so much bad for him. He's got no protection in the lineup. They're not pitching to Salvi because they can get to Cags. And I think that if you move him in front of Salvi, maybe have some pitchers who are like, well, we can pitch around Cags, and then we can just worry about Salvi. So there's obviously two sides to every coin. But I'm just a little bit interested to see, okay, what's next? When is he going to kind of adjust a little bit? Because I think he needs to use all fields a little bit more. And that's easy to say from my desk chair. Use all fields. They're pitching him in. They're putting balls up in the zone. It's easy for him to, get goo-goo eyes and say, I got to pull this ball into the bleachers and the cheap seats. That's really easy for him to do. And it's easy for me to say, hey, use all fields. They're pitching him in. They're trying to jam him. They're trying to get in his kitchen. It's a little bit of a push and pull with Cags right now. So I'm not too worried about his slow start at the plate, but would like to see another good day at the dish tomorrow. I think it'll be Shane Smith tomorrow, and I believe Shane Smith is a righty, if I'm not mistaken. I know he's got that good change piece, but going to Baseball Reference, I know it's Shane Smith tomorrow, but that will be him. Shane Smith. Yes, right-handed pitcher. So I would imagine Cags is still in the lineup tomorrow, but maybe Q wants to give him a day off because I know that they've got a series with the Yankees coming up. They've got a day off on Monday, so I don't foresee them giving Cags 2 straight days off, but it wouldn't surprise me either way. Appreciate you guys in the comments section for chiming in. A lot of people here in the comments section. Appreciate you all. Just want to remind you to like the video, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notifications. Another bad day for the offense. So it's not exactly great times in Kansas City, but hey, they're competitive. Wins are hard to come by in Major League Baseball. When you look at the standings, they're still a game and a half out of the wild card standings. So I'm not too concerned. I think that today's lineup was not the best. Massey was in the lineup. That doesn't help. I think that you probably have to do some maneuvering around. Not a huge Drew Waters fan. I think the best lineup for the Royals is with Freddie behind the plate, Salvi DHing, and Cags in a corner outfield spot with Lofton kind of roaming wherever he needs to be. But I know a lot of people are in the comments mad about Matt Quatraro. Matt Quatraro was second in the AL Manager of the Year voting last year. He's a good manager. He's going to get arrows when he loses and when the team loses. Matt Quatraro was the second best manager in the American League last year. If you are wanting Mike Matheny, I hate to tell you, but you are going to get a really bad baseball team if you want Mike Matheny back. That's just my 2 cents. But Matt Quatraro, not his best week. There was nothing he could have done today to change the outcome in this game. It was just a bad day by Waka on the mound. A lot of solo homers, but man, Salvi wasn't great, and the rest of the lineup just didn't do anything. So I know that a lot of people are upset. Hopefully, when you guys come back tomorrow, we are talking about a Royals win. Royals first pitch tomorrow at 1:10. So I would imagine we're here around 3:30 tomorrow talking Royals, White Sox, hopefully talking about the Royals salvaging one game out of the series against the White Sox as they look to move back into a wild card spot. Thank you so much for joining us today here on our Locked On Royals postcast. Don't forget to like the video, hit subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications so that you know when we go live every single postcast. This has been a Royals postcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you tomorrow.